Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I've got an order to pack of these 30 beautiful pieces of different laces, and with that also comes bits and bobbies, and I think these are about £32 in my shop. Something similar. I will put a link below. So I'm just going to wrap one, then you can see exactly what goes in it. Just sit down. So I've got my bits and pieces together there, and I'm going to start with this first one. So these are, I think they're all vintage, these. Well, yes, they are. They're vintage or antique. So I've got some little flowers, little flower bits in there. And this is coffee stained. So I start off with something in the middle, and we make a parcel, and we literally just keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm going to tuck this end. It's one of my favourite things to pack this, to prepare to pack. So I just keep wrapping. So this is some sari, coffee dyed sari silk. Well, everything's coffee dyed. So there's some sari silk that I've pressed going onto there. Now, I do say in the advert in the shop, in my little exclusive Be Divine Vintage World, that it's 30, including all the bits and pieces like these. However, it's not. It's, with these, it becomes 30 plus. There's 30 pieces of textiles plus all of the bits and bobbies. The bits and bobbies vary from parcel to parcel. I'll just put a little paper clip on that to hold that in place. There we go. I don't want to push it too far in because I don't want the recipient not to be able to pull it out again. So here's another piece. So I just love buying vintage trim and vintage laces, vintage and antique. The older the better. Where do I go? I just seem to scour the world for them. Let's pop that around there. Yeah, I do go to some car boots, but in the main, it's other antique shops I go to. I've got a drink there as I am so incredibly thirsty. It's very warm here again. Here's some broderie anglaise. It's very, very warm, but it's muggy. You know, it feels a bit like we might be due for a storm. That's a lovely piece, isn't it? So I just keep building up and building up and building up. Put that there. And I just like to plan and do my best to make these look really, really pretty. So I'm going to put that around there. And then I'm going to put this underneath. But in there, I'm going to put some buttons, because I want it to be like a little treasure trove, so that when you unwrap, pieces fall out. The recipient, pieces fall out, which makes it exciting. It's like Christmas morning or a birthday, with all your little bits and pieces. This is a gorgeous vintage handkerchief. Yeah, remember when all your bits and pieces used to fall out your stocking? Back to the vintage handkerchief. Lovely. And look, it's even got the name. I think it says V. Neil. So I'm just going to wrap that piece sort of delicately. Whoops, lost a button. Never mind, I can find another one to put in. I'll find another. Let's pop them two in for now. Right. And pop this around. Yeah, I want it to feel like Christmas morning or birthday morning when you're opening your parcels. Probably more like Christmas, because usually there's a few more at Christmas, isn't there? Let's put this one on top there. And with that, here's some vintage glass beads. So I'm just going to wind these up. They're just on a wire, and we'll pop them in there. Now I do these in avocado, grungy coffee, tea, red cabbage, different colours, and they are made to order these. However, saying that, I have got some, this one looked pink even though it is coffee dyed. Different fabrics just dye different colours in the same pot of dyes. So yeah, I'm doing some other kits though. I'm going to eco dye some beautiful antique laces and things. So there won't be 30 pieces in, there'll be less, and they won't be packaged like this. They will come as let's get that under there. They'll come in a box, and they won't have all the trinkety bits with them. It'll just literally be the pieces of vintage lace and textiles, or mainly lace. Let's put a key. Should put a key there as well. Shall we wrap the key in some lace? Let's wrap some of this lovely vintage lace around this key. Look at that. I think that's antique lace actually. Pop that around the key. We'll just pop that there. Pop that over the top. And then let's wrap this around. Yeah, so I'm doing some sort of eco dyeing and some hand dyeing. So I've got some pinks, blues, grey. I'm going to do some greys. Quite an assortment of colours actually. And they'll be coming into my shop very, very soon. Let's wrap this. This is quite a long piece, so we can wrap this right around there. I'm just going to get another button to recover the one that I dropped. Oh, here it is. Here's the one that I dropped. Here it is. There we go. It's a nice big vintage button, isn't it? So the buttons I've put in are all neutral. I should have shown you that really. There's that. Isn't that the most divine piece? I love that piece. Let's put some paper clips. So I've got rusted paper clips, pins, little paper clips. There we go. Let's put some more of this over the top. Then that little piece is pretty. That's off a vintage wedding dress, antique wedding dress. Put this underneath. Keeps strapping out that button, doesn't it? The elusive button. Let's put you back in. And this one can go over the top here, but then can just tuck those pieces in. Getting to near the 30 now. I'm going to have to put my other bits in. So we've got here some more buttons. Oh, button with a thread. I love buttons with a thread. There's a round one, so I'm just going to pop that under and in. And another flat one. So let's just... Oh, this is vintage sari. Look at that, I love it. It was white sari, but done with these dyes and stains, it looks phenomenal. Let's go this way actually. Trying to keep this one as flat as I can because I'm posting it out of the country. I need to keep costs down, so going flat. Oh, I like this triangular piece as well. I'm going to take this like this. It's like a little letter. And then, oh, this is antique satin off an antique wedding dress. Sorry, I was just having a little drink. I absolutely adore this one. And then, let's just turn that over. Tuck these bits in again. Everything's untucking itself. Alright, so pop that on. There's another, that button keeps jumping out. Right, it's back in. Right, I'm going to bring this around. Then here I've got some of the sari silk, but I haven't dyed this. So I need to bring it across the front. So this is the back of the parcel. I'm going to do this. Everything these days is about keeping prices down, isn't it? We've got such a terrible situation with finances in the UK at the moment. And then when posting to the States, we've got the tariff on top, so that adds to the costs as well. Right, let's just tie this. So costs of just crippling small businesses, crippling all businesses, I think. There we go. And I've got this, which I'm going to put in there. This is a vintage flower. That's pretty. And I've got some of this lovely, this is a modern trim. It's just pearls on a thread, so I'm going to just pop that under and in there so we've not got the loose ends. And then, so let's hope I've cut this to the right length. I'm going to just wrap it around like this and tuck that under there. So there we are. That is the 30 pieces of textiles from my shop, link below. Now there is, sometimes they are bigger than this and chunkier than this. Just depends on which textiles I'm using. This one I've used a lot of actually more vintage and antique than normal, made them flatter because of the postage, whereas some of the ones into Europe may have more cottons and things in, which makes them chunkier. But this is ever so pretty and I'm really happy with this. So I hope you've enjoyed this little demonstration of how I wrap. Let's bring you in closer to have a look. Looks like a little bag, doesn't it? Of these, how I wrap these little bundles and the type of things that are in them. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.